Dear Diary, my retirement from pop culture. So as of yesterday, the last season of Game of Thrones is coming out. And Endgame, Avengers Endgame, also at the end of this month. I think these are going to be the last two great pop culture things for a very, very long time. So I think after that, after these two things, I'm just going to start reading books. And I'm going to minimize my interaction with pop culture. I said to a friend of mine, you want to go see it in the theater? Because I don't think I'm ever going to go to the theater again after this. This is the last time I'm going to go to the theater. Avengers Endgame. Movies and TV these days, and pop music, is so polluted by agendas, among other things. Agendas that are so bullshit that even the agendas have agendas, right? Like Disney doesn't give two shits about minorities or women. They give a shit about the fact that it's hip right now to give a shit about minorities and women. So that's why they give a shit. They give a shit about money, right? So their agenda has an agenda. You want proof? Okay. North America, the native North Americans, a genocide was almost committed by us Europeans. And that is glossed over. It's never mentioned anywhere. They don't give two shits about right and wrong or racism or any of that crap. But, I mean, that's obvious. But it's sad that it's so obvious. And aside from agendas, you got the fact that Hollywood and TV networks only want things that are a proven success. Either it has to be like an old franchise, rebooting of a franchise, or a cookie cutter, I'm going to use that phrase a lot, cookie cutter formula that is tried and true. So there's no room for originality anymore, and there'll be less and less as time goes on. And as companies like Disney get richer and richer and eventually become the only companies. I know I sound negative, but I actually think of this as very, very positive, and I'm excited as hell. It's very empowering when you dump an abusive girlfriend or boyfriend. And in a way, that's what I'm doing to Disney and to all of the pop culture bullshit. And I mean, it's so bad that even the rebellious people like the YouTubers and the Fandom Menace people, even they're hypocrites, right? They pretend that their agenda is Star Wars, but it's actually to make money. That's why they're selling t-shirts. It's ugly. If I was ever a micro YouTube celebrity, I would not sell t-shirts. I think that's when you know you're done. If you don't even have a product to sell aside from a stupid t-shirt, then you shouldn't be selling. That's not a product to sell. And the micro celebrities whose agendas also have agendas are no different than Disney at the end of the day. I fear the day when Disney makes a movie with an agenda, a supposed agenda, and then makes a hate page that bashes their own movie, and then they react to the bashing that they did to their own movie with, well, if you don't like this movie, then you're a racist. And then all of the micro YouTubers with 100,000 viewers, they get enraged and they start hating the movie, and they give Disney free publicity. I think The Last Jedi was my breaking point. I mean, it was so bad, it kind of put a microscope to what the real problem is. And I can no longer trust critics because I believe they're paid off by big companies. Not that it ever mattered, but box office, how much money it makes, now it means even less. And it already meant nothing. Now it means less than nothing. And I mean, if I'm going to be told I'm an asshole if I don't like your movie, I just won't even watch it at all. I mean, I'll just stop watching the movies altogether. And then you can't say I'm an asshole for not liking it, because I didn't even see it. There you go. Maybe I'll go to anti-racist, protests against racism and against, standing up for women. I'll go to protests, against chauvinism. And if anybody goes, did you watch The Last Jedi? Oh, if you didn't watch it, it means you hate women. No, I didn't watch it. I was busy going to a protest against rapists. Anyways, if they can ruin Star Wars, they can ruin everything. I mean, you shouldn't be able to ruin Star Wars. You shouldn't be able to be that retarded. Episode 9 will be terrible because if it quacks like a duck, looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, smells like a duck, feels like a duck. I don't even think I can watch it. I'll read the Wikipedia synopsis of the whole plot. I'll watch YouTubers making fun of it. And I'll download the movie, but I'll only watch the Palpatine parts. And that'll be it. And the Luke Skywalker parts. But I'll ignore the rest of it. Because I'm not really interested in what Finn, Rey, and Poe and Kylo Ren have to say or do. And don't forget Rose. Even the writing of these movies these days is insulting. They don't tell you how character gets from point A to point B, which is like what a story is supposed to do. They just show you point A and point B because you're ADD. They assume you're ADD, and you don't want to watch a story. You just want, oh, Palpatine's here. Who cares how he got here? Oh, it's a Death Star. Oh, Han Solo's flying the Millennium. You know, just bullshit, right? It's not storytelling. It's just nostalgia for nostalgia's sake and empty sentiments. It's awful. It's insulting. It's bad for your brain. And I'm afraid that after Avengers Endgame, Marvel is going to go down the shitter. It's reached its high point. And they're introducing shittier characters like Captain Marvel, who cannot carry the franchise the way Robert Downey Jr. could. There's not a lot of Robert Downey Jr.'s. And the Marvel formula is getting really bad. Like, it's getting way too repetitive to the point of boredom. Thor Ragnarok, I thought it sucked. I thought Ant-Man 1 and 2 sucked. What was the other one? The other piece of shit. Doctor Strange. That was awful. It was awful. The story was so bad, and it was just a copy of Iron Man, really. You know, asshole becomes good, learns to have a heart. Oh, God. I'll probably just end up watching the Avengers movies in the future, and that's it. If that. Maybe I'll be done with that, too, because Age of Ultron wasn't that good. And it's just overload, sensory overload, too much. Technology is really cool and everything, but, you know, you've seen one Liquid Terminator, you've seen them all. Don't need it anymore. It's fine. Alright, so my favorite TV show of all time is The Twilight Zone. But and that just shows you that even a great TV show has agendas. There's no escaping agendas because we don't live in a bubble. There are things in the world. Rod Serling promoting cigarettes, okay? Very well, there's agendas. But you know, at least they were transparent with it. Whereas the new Twilight Zone, I gave that thing a try. And it's a big disaster. Why is it a disaster? Okay, because it's 50 minutes long, it's ill-conceived, it's just a stupid idea, period. But here's the main reason, is that the stories kind of suck. They're boring. Right, so not only do the agendas have agendas, but they're also done in a very boring way. And transparent, not transparent, but ugly. And condescending? Or embarrassing. There's a part in the third episode of Twilight Zone where they're practically saying to the audience, it doesn't matter if you're black or white. Or, black people are people too, you know. And it's embarrassing, it's humiliating, the way they talk to the audience like they're retarded. So have any agenda you want. You could have I don't even care. I don't care if you hate white people. That's fine with me. Say that white people are shit. I'm white, right? But I don't give a shit as long as you're entertaining. But they're not entertaining. Hey, good writing doesn't spell it out the way this shit does. Last Jedi, Holdo, and Twilight Zone. It's called like subtext. Storytelling is about not... it's about telling a story, but it's also about, not speaking right to the audience, because that's a lecture, that's not a story. On a side note, Twilight Zone, Peele, the movie Get Out. I would have been a great movie. It would have been not a great movie. It would have been a good movie if not for all of the agendas. If I could just enjoy it without having to read. If you start trying to read in a racist commentary, like he's making a comment on racism, then the movie doesn't even make sense because there is no real. So it ruins the movie. Back onto the main point of me retiring. Breaking Bad will not happen again for a long time. There won't be a show that good for a long time. Same with Avengers Endgame. 2001 A Space Odyssey, yeah, right, Kubrick. There's no new Kubricks that are going to be coming along with that kind of money to make a movie like that again. Because everything's cookie cutter. No studios will ever invest like that again. And, it was a miracle that Breaking Bad wasn't canceled. They barely made it. The music industry is also in the same boat, and it's a disgrace, and it's got agendas and all that shit. I could go on for hours about the music industry, but I'll give one good example. So Bill Maher, on his Politically Incorrect, or whatever the hell his stupid show is called, Real Talk, and he goes on about, he uses the N-word, okay? A week later, Ice Cube comes on the show. Ice Cube starts educating Bill Maher about why you shouldn't use the N-word. So my first question was, what makes him a moral authority? Just by virtue of being black, right? But no, I think there's experts on race studies that have a lot more intelligent things to say. I mean, there was even a disagreement where Oprah thought the N-word shouldn't be said by black people and Jay-Z thought it should be. So even black people argue about the correct and incorrect use of the N-word, or whether it's always incorrect, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, wait a second. Ice Cube's a moral authority? Didn't he, like, make his living promoting being a gangster and murdering people and selling drugs? And I bet he's insulted every single race in his music. Jews, like, I'm sure he's said tons, right? But yet he's going to lecture on racism. So this is a brief Ice Cube tangent, which will end in about a minute. Yeah, so I related that whole thing to my friend, who happens to be a big hip-hop fan. And he watched the interview with the Bill Maher, right? And he goes, I've been a fan of Ice Cube my whole life, but I'm never going to listen to him again because he's such an effing hypocrite. My friend then forced me to listen to a song by Ice Cube called No Vaseline, and you don't want to know what it's referencing, in which Ice Cube insults every single race. And that includes using every single racial slur, Jew, kike, probably, every single word you can think of. Of course, women, right? How women are stupid bitch, hoe, right? Of course, that's okay though, right? Right, Ice Cube? Just don't use the N-word. I saw Ice Cube on an MTV Awards show once, and on TV, and Jack Black won an award for the School of Rock, and he had all the kids from the movie up on stage with him. And then Ice Cube comes up on stage and starts using the F word in front of the kids because he's so stupid and irresponsible. He doesn't have any courtesy, like, oh, there's children here, right? Real considerate, good guy. And not to mention, all his street cred is out the window. He makes Disney. He's been in Disney movies. So yeah, hypocrite through and through, and that's just Ice Cube. I could mention a number of other people in the pop music industry who are just so thoroughly full of shit, but I'm not going to go on forever about that. That's done. Let's talk more about me. Pop culture gives me ADD, tries to make me feel bad about myself, tries to make me feel like if I'm not listening to hip-hop music, I'm not cool. Or if I don't buy the latest lawnmower that they're advertising, I'm not cool. So, who needs it? Pop culture is oversaturated. There's a million TV shows. There's a million movies. I can get them all for free, loading them off Wi-Fi that I get from the neighbor's house. So I'm not even paying for the Wi-Fi. I can download all these movies on Pirate Bay for free. And it's just all so available. I've got every piece of music Mozart and Bach ever wrote, which is a hell of a lot. I got more music than I can ever listen to. It's just too much. Everybody's got too much of everything. So it's at a tipping point. It's at a breaking point. It's no longer even fun. People don't even take pictures anymore because they can take pictures on their camera. It used to be a novelty. You buy a disposable camera and you can take pictures on your vacation. I don't think people even take pictures anymore because everything's so free and abundant now because of technology. That's why we're at a breaking point, and that's why I believe that books, vinyl, all the old-fashioned forms of art are going to make a big comeback. You wonder why people are lazy. Well, they got all this stimulation everywhere. TV, movies, what's that stupid game that people play? Candy Crush. 400 years ago, a guy could write a 1,000-page novel because he's got nothing to do. He's at home alone or whatever. You don't have TV, right? So you get things done. You get good things done. I will still watch movies and TV, but only when people who I trust and respect tell me that it is better or as good as Breaking Bad or Infinity War. Do you ever sit there and you're watching a shitty movie or TV show and you ask yourself, why am I watching this garbage? This is insulting to me. It lowers my self-esteem just watching this shit, crappily written stuff where you can predict what they're going to say and everything. And by and large, I've already stopped watching most YouTubers. I'll still make YouTube videos because I've got things that are worth saying. But I'm going to be focused mainly on my output, not my input, when it comes to movies and music and shit like that. So the fact that I only get like 5 views, and that's a high view count for a video by me, makes me question YouTube and makes me think there might be a better platform, maybe like Twitch or something like that. Because I uploaded a video 10 years ago. It was a spoof on something, and it got like 30,000 views in like 6 months. But now it's like I don't know, flagged or something, and I owe it to the world to at least have my shit be available for all the people who want to learn great lessons from me. And if it's just not being put out there, then I'm not really doing my job. I gotta not necessarily publicize myself, but I need to make it at least reachable. And maybe it's not on this platform. Maybe on one of the other ones. You can actually get you can get some views when people search your keywords. Donald Trump is another big reason why I'm exiting pop culture. He does invade pop culture. He's not just a president. In fact, I opened the newspaper one time and I went to the entertainment section hoping for an article about Donald Trump because he's more entertainment than politics as far as the way he invades my life. Me being from Canada, and I don't know shit about politics, but he does seem strongly, and nobody's argued with me, he does seem like the kind of guy who would rather throw food in the garbage than give it to somebody who didn't work hard, who didn't earn it, according to him. He'd rather throw money in the garbage than give it to somebody who he thinks is lazy. And the funny thing is, I despise capitalists, and I also despise SJWs. So I'm somewhere in the middle or something, or maybe I'm on a different line because I hate them both, and they both hate me. So there's a bit of an identity crisis in a sense of like, where do I even fit in? Because everybody's an effing moron. Everybody's fucked in the head. That's actually a very good question. Where do I fit with all these idiots? Among them, where am I? Let me think and then answer that. I would say that social justice warriors and capitalists are basically the same thing because they're both greedy for attention, different types of attention. Capitalists are greedy for money, which gives them attention because they drive a nice car or whatever. Social justice warriors want attention for being moral or being perceived as moral, even though they're not. Actually, that's not true. Social justice warriors don't give a shit about being perceived as moral. They just want to bully people because they were nerds in school, and now they get to bully the bullies, right? It's actually a term I coined, nerd bully. That's what they are. They're nerd bullies. Just like 20 years ago, all these idiots think they're cutting edge. They think they're just, they're the big rebels. They don't realize that they're generic and average. And it's actually one of my favorite authors, my favorite author, Dostoevsky, has a chapter in his book, The Idiot, where he says, it's easy to write a character that's, has certain, is really angry, or a character that's really jealous, or a character that's really whatever. But the hardest character to write is a character who's average. How do you write a character who's average in every way? And he goes, here's how you do it. What's the quality that every average person has? And the quality is they think they're extraordinary. The average person thinks that they are above average. So pop culture is very depressing. It's not good for you. It's like eating ice cream with fake milk and fake sugar and eating a lot of it. And the ice cream also has shit in it. And even if it was great ice cream, that was the best quality ice cream with real milk, it would still be bad for you because it's inherently bad because it's got sugar. There's no such thing as healthy bubble gum or healthy chocolate bars. In terms of input, I'm going to try to read books rather than watching shitty movies made by idiots. Regarding my YouTube channel, it's not a priority. It's not a hobby either. It's kind of a public service. Just share good views with people who need to hear them. Healthy views. Right, it's not a priority. It's like charity. It's great if it gets me publicity, but it's not. It doesn't seem to be doing that. If it gets me publicity, that's 2 birds with 1 stone. But I look at it like I'm doing a public service. Oh wait, 3 birds with 1 stone. It's also a diary entry so that I can look back in 10 years and see where I was at. And the truth is, at the end of the day, pop culture needs me more than I need it. And I'll give you an example. When I was 20, I wrote a Baroque-styled violin concerto, I think. Yeah. And I sent it to every orchestra in Canada, and they all rejected me. Mainly because I don't have any diplomas. Also, it wasn't very good. But as an angry 20-year-old, I came to the conclusion that I was going to disown. If they're not going to accept me, then I'm not going to accept them. So I decided I was going to boycott all orchestras and symphonies and any musicians. I decided to hate all musicians. I decided that musicians think that they're artists and they're not artists. And that without composers, musicians don't have any music to play. So they need me more than I need them. I'm the cow, they need my milk. And with technology, they are absolutely obsolete. I can program notes into a frickin' MIDI player and I can hear my music without them. They're obsolete. And so with pop culture, I've got the good ideas. Like, I write stories, right? And they're like the best. I've got the good ideas. They need good ideas, and they're not going to get mine, whether I like it or not, whether they like it or, and they won't like it. They don't like it because they don't like having to flop around for ideas like a fish out of water flops around for water. And you know what? Even if pop culture embraced my shit, it would be immoral. It would be unethical, because it'll give you another thing. Because it's kind of like selling out when you work for a bigger company. Here's an example. The Simpsons has 10 writers, 20 writers. Now, how is a comedy writer supposed to compete against The Simpsons when the comedy writer, like a small-time guy, he's on his own? It's going to take him 20 times longer to make as many jokes as The Simpsons can make. And so he's competing against 20 writers ganging up on him because they're getting paid more money. So in a way, I call them scabs, because they're selling out. Or as, what's his name? The guy that made Watchmen? I forget his name. He said the artists are selling themselves up the river. Alan Moore. An amazing YouTube video is The Mindscape of Alan Moore. It's unbelievable. I had to stop it as I watched every 2 minutes because he was blowing my mind, because he basically has every single view that I have, but it's like 20 years more mature. So he has every idea I have, but it's been matured 20 years past me. So that's about all for now. I've got plenty more that I could talk about. Depends on whether I feel like it and whether, of course, anybody views it. But it is good for reference, diary entry. I can look back and I can say, okay, that's what I was thinking at this time. That was a cool idea, because I'm a big fan of myself. I'm not the voice of a generation because the generation is mainly retarded. It's Oprah and Beyonce's job to be the voice of a generation. I'm the voice of the very smartest people in the generation. Wait, I'm intergenerational. I'm the voice of the best of every generation, and all generations for the last 5,000 years. And the next 5,000 years to come. Yeah, but I should, once and for all, do one where I talk about my theory of art criticism, because I invented an art theory, and then I've also got art criticism theories. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to do that one next, regardless of whether anybody watches it, because I just think it's really good. So long, pop culture. Tell misery I said bye, and I'll tell happiness that you said hi. If you support gays, click like. If you respect blacks, comment. If you think women are people too, click the notification bell. And if you care about sick children, subscribe.